So, I know that works for you. Most of you are one and done anyway. Acts chapter 12, verses 3 through 6. I'm reading from the NLT. Matter of fact, for time's sake, I just want to read verse 6. Verse 6 says, the night before Peter was placed on trial, he was asleep. And he was fastened with 2 chains between 2 soldiers, and other guards stood at the prison gate. Verse 6 again, the night before Peter was to be placed on trial, he was asleep. And for a few minutes, I want to talk about if God is awake, why are you not asleep? If God is awake, why are you not asleep? Clap your hands for the youth ushers as they transition. Job well done today. Job well done. Appreciate you so much. Our theme for the month of August has been improving your physical temple, and all month long we've been sharing Bible passages that speak on how we can glorify God with our physical bodies. When it comes down to taking better care of our physical self, there are at least 4 proven ways that will help you and I better care for our bodies. I want to put them all on the screen. And I want you to catch these 4 ways. Number 1 is hydration. Hydration is what we drink. Number 2 is nutrition. If hydration is what we drink, nutrition is what we eat. These are 4 ways to improve our bodies. Number 1 is hydration, what we drink. Number 2 is nutrition, what we eat. Number 3 is what? What's number 3? Exertion. Exertion deals with what? How we exercise. And then number 4 is relaxation, how we rest. And as I walk through those, I could see you marking off, saying, I don't do that one. I don't do that one. Some of y'all like 1 for 2, 2 for 4, 2 for, okay. Those are the 4 proven ways. Hydration, what we drink. Nutrition, what we eat. Exertion, how we exercise. And relaxation, how we rest. When it comes to believers, when it comes to Christians, one of the most neglected of the 4 is relaxation. And you'll be surprised how many Christians do their physical bodies harm because they just don't get enough rest. They just don't get enough sleep. If that's ever been you, lift your hand. If you've been guilty of not getting enough rest, not getting enough sleep, okay? See somebody whose hand's not up, say, why are you lying in church? Why are you lying? All of us from time to time have neglected ourselves by not getting enough rest, not getting enough sleep. And what I want to do today is I want to share this message with you. If God is awake, why are you not asleep? Because the number 1 reason why many people don't get enough rest or sleep is because they're up worrying about things outside of their control. And I read a verse many years ago that has blessed me. I read a verse, and the verse said this: God never sleeps nor slumbers. It's somewhere in the book of Psalm. It says, God never sleeps or slumber. And when I read that verse said to me that God never goes to sleep. And when I read that, I said this: well, if God is up, one of us needs to be asleep. Come on. And that one would be me. And I want to show you a passage of scripture in the Bible of a brother who was asleep. His name is Peter. His story today is found in Acts chapter 12, verses 3 through 11. In verse number 6 says, the night before Peter was to be placed on trial, he was asleep. And what I want to do with the remaining minutes that are left is I want to share with you when you ought to be able to sleep. Let me give you 3 things about Peter in Acts chapter 12, verses 3 through 11. This will serve as the breakdown of these verses. Grab your outline. Show somebody what we're about to write. Let them know we're going to write right here. Point to them so they will know. Here's number 1, Peter's incarceration. That's I-N, look at the screen. Peter's incarceration. That's verses 3 through 6. The root word of incarceration is to be incarcerated, and to be incarcerated means to be in prison. Let me help you right through here. Quit thinking that in order to be in prison, you have to be behind bars. Because the truth be told, anything that has you bound is a prison situation. Anybody ever been in a relationship with somebody and it was prison? It was prison. It was prison. Let somebody know the Lord bailed me out. The Lord bailed me out. The Lord, prison. Peter's incarceration. All right, here's number 2. Peter's liberation. Peter's liberation. Verses 7 through 10. Peter's liberation. To be liberated means what? To be set free. To be set free. To be incarcerated means to be bound. To be liberated means to be set free. And I decree and declare as your pastor today, whatever has you bound, God's getting ready to set you free. I don't care if your class has you bound, your teacher has you bound, your parents has you bound, your job has you bound, your lack of finances. God is getting ready to set you free. Lift your hand and say, I receive that freedom, God. I receive that freedom. See, some of y'all didn't raise your hand. You ain't ready. You ain't ready. You ain't ready. You ain't ready. Number 1 is Peter's what? Incarceration. He's bound. He's in prison. Number 2 is Peter's what? God set him free. Here's the last one. Peter's realization. Peter's realization. In verse 11, Peter's realization. You know what realization is? The young folks would say in verse 11, Peter keeping it real. But really, Peter's realization is he recognized who did it for him. And Steve, when you go back and read verse 11, after Peter is set free, guess what Peter says? If it hadn't been for God, I would have never been set free. And I bet I'm preaching to somebody here. You can look back over your life and say, if it hadn't been for God, some things would still have me bound. Some things would still have me bound, would have me bound. And I just want to share this story with you. I want to share this story because Peter is in prison, but he sleep. Peter is in prison, but he sleep. Peter is in prison, but he sleep. And you know what God is saying through this text to everybody here? If Peter can sleep in prison, you should be able to sleep from a split-level house in Stockbridge. Oh, y'all ain't ready for me today. Y'all ain't ready for me. If Peter is sleeping in prison, I don't want to poll the room and ask how many people been in prison. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. But you know, I know some of y'all. I know some. But just help me preach this, whether you're assuming this or whether you know it by personal experience. You're assuming this or you know it by personal experience. Just help me this. What Peter is sleeping in prison, what is he sleeping on? That's the question I want to ask you. What is he sleeping on? A hard floor. Anybody got another guess? Anybody got another guess? A hard floor? A hard floor? A cot? A cot? A cot? No blanket? A mat? Okay. Metal? Okay. Vince, you talking from knowledge or you talking from what? Because you said that kind of forcefully. You was like, bump all what they said, Pastor. Let me give you the lowdown, okay? Hey, here's my point. I think all of you are correct. He's sleeping on something that's uncomfortable, but he still sleep. And if he can sleep somewhere and on something that's uncomfortable, that means if you got a Sealy Posturepedic mattress. Did I say that the right way? Did I say it the right way, Wanda? They call it a Sealy Posturepedic mattress. You ought to be able to sleep. And now they got mattresses. I don't know what you call them, but you can set the temperature. What do they call those? What do they call those mattresses? Sleep number. Yeah. I call them, I ain't got one. That's what I call them. How is it that we got all these comforts and we can't sleep? And Peter's in prison and he sleeps. All right, let me give you. Grab your outline, grab your outline, grab your outline, grab your outline, grab your outline. I got 6 minutes left. You ought to thank Nick and Jordan for getting out of church early today. Come on. Some of y'all going to go to them and say, ooh, you ought to do something every Sunday. You ought to do something. All right, here's number 1. You should sleep in spite of problems around you. Did you get number 1? You should sleep in spite of what? Problems around. I'm going to give you all 3. Number 1, you should sleep in spite of what? Watch number 2, Sonia. you should sleep in the midst of proposals about you. Proposals about you. Now, problems is negative stuff that's going on around you. Proposals about you is this: you should sleep even though some people hate on you. You should sleep even though some people plot against you. You should sleep even though some people don't want you to make it. You should sleep even though people don't say amen when you're preaching at the 9:45 service and you ain't got much time left. Come on now. Proposals about, here's the last one. Give me number one. You should sleep in spite of what? Number two, you should sleep in midst of. Here's number three. You should sleep because of prayers for you. Man, that's a good spot to use one of the amens they gave you when you walked in. Prayers. And somebody's here today, you missing sleep, you missing rest, because you focusing more on the problems and the proposals instead of the prayers. Ooh, you better preach that thing, Pastor. You better preach that thing. You better preach that thing. Listen. There was a man that was outside, and he was just worrying about a bunch of stuff. Worried. And a farmer comes out, and the farmer says to this man, why are you so worried? Why are you so worried? Why are you so worried? He's not doing anything for you. Why are you so worried? And then the farmer says to this man, check out that cow. What is that cow doing? And the man said, the cow is looking over the wall. The cow is looking over the wall. The farmer said, you're correct. The cow is looking over the wall. But do you know why the cow is looking over the wall? He's looking over the wall because he can't see through the wall. So since he can't see through the wall, he's looking over the wall. He says, and when it comes to problems in your life, instead of trying to look through them, look over them. Come on, would you speak to three people? Say, look over it this week. Look over it. Look over. We spend so much time trying to look through it instead of looking over it. And here's the storyline. Here's the storyline, y'all. Here's the storyline. I'm at verse 1. It says, about that time, King Herod Agrippa began to persecute some of the believers in the church. This is the guy whose grandfather tried to kill Jesus. And now he's killing Christians in verse 1. Look at verse 2. He had the apostle James, John's brother, killed with a sword. Killed with a sword. He had him killed with a sword because he's trying to harass Christians. And look at verse 3. And when Herod saw how much this pleased the Jewish people, he arrested Peter. He arrested Peter. You know what's going on here? He had James killed. And when he had James killed, his approval rating went up. And when his approval rating went up, he says, if they act like that and I kill James, what they gonna do when I kill Peter? Because Peter is the leader. Peter is the spokesperson. He says, and if they gave me that kind of love when I killed James, let me get Peter next. Let's see if I can make it fit. He says, if I ran for office in 2016 and they gave me love and I did all that crazy stuff in 4 years, what do you think's going to happen if I run again in 2024? And be careful of trying to please people. Be careful of living life trying to please people. Nick and Jordan did it well in the play, talking about don't live life trying to please people. There was a politician. He was a president of a country, and he was flying in his plane, and he said to some of his staff members, he said, I'm going to take $100, $100 bill, and throw it out of the window and make somebody happy. One of his staff members said, Mr. President, why don't you take $200 bills and throw it out the window and make two people happy? Another staff member said, Mr. President, why don't you take 5 $100 bills and throw it out the window and make somebody happy? One staff member said, Mr. President, why don't you just jump out the window and make half the country happy? And Peter is arrested, y'all. Peter is arrested. Peter is arrested. That's a problem. Peter is arrested. But although he's arrested, what is he doing? Sleeping. And I'm preaching to somebody here. You got problems at home. You got problems at school. You got problems everywhere you go. And you should not let that interfere with your sleep. Because if God is awake, you ought to get you some sleep in spite of your problems. But let me show you a proposal. Let me show you a proposal. Let me show you a proposal. The problem is Peter is arrested, but he's still asleep. Look at the proposal. Then he imprisoned Peter. I'm in verse 4. And he placed him under the guard of 4 squads of 4 soldiers. You know what that means? He got 16 different soldiers. 16 different soldiers. And these 16 different soldiers, they work 4 at a shift. 4 as a shift. 2 of them are outside of the prison, and 2 are in the cell with Peter. And Peter is connected to them. He's chained to them, and they are to watch over him. And look at what Herod says. Herod intended to bring Peter out for public trial after the Passover. Passover means there's a big festival going on. Jews from all over the world are in Jerusalem. And Herod did not want to kill Peter while all the Jews were there because he didn't want to cause a riot. He didn't want to cause a mob scene. So he's very strategic in terms of, let me wait until all these people are gone back, and then I'm going to bring Peter out. I'm going to bring him out. Ooh. Watch this. Watch this. No pun intended. It says he brings him out for a trial. It's a trumped up charge. Come on, tell your role. No pun intended. No pun intended. He brings him out, Bill, on a trumped up charge. And he's going to bring him out. And there's no way that Peter is going to get acquitted. There's no way that Peter is going to get released. There's no way that they're going to find Peter not guilty, because they've already decided he's going to be guilty, and we're going to kill him. And look at verse 7. Look at verse 6, y'all. Look at verse 6. Take me back to verse 6. Verse 6 is the key. That night, before Peter was to be placed on trial, he was what? Asleep. Are y'all catching this? Only got 4 minutes left. Are y'all catching this? That night, this is supposed to be the last night of his life, because he was going to be executed. He was going to be killed. And what is that brother doing the last night of his life? Sleep. Will you tell somebody on your road there's a reason why your name ain't in the Bible? Because if the person sitting on the right of you, their name was in the Bible, it wouldn't say they were asleep, would it? They walk in the flow. This don't make no sense. This some straight up shift. I don't know. This brother is asleep. And I want you to know, no matter what the doctor's report gonna say tomorrow, go to sleep tonight. No matter what the test results are going to reveal, young people, tomorrow, go to sleep. Whether you did the homework or not, go to sleep. No matter if your supervisor wants to see you tomorrow, go to sleep. No matter what traffic is going to be like in the morning, go to sleep. Don't let nothing stop you from sleeping. And this brother, the night before he is to be executed, he's asleep. Dave, I prayed this prayer for many years, and God has honored it. God has honored it. A prayer I prayed for many years is this: Lord, give me the ability to sleep any place, regardless of what's going on in my life. And God has honored that. First Lady will tell you that God has honored that. I had no problem sleeping anywhere, anytime, regardless of what's going on. Matter of fact, there's sometimes First Lady is talking to me at night. And then the next morning she said, I was talking to you. And you just went to sleep. You just went to sleep. You just went to sleep. I would say, hey, I'm sorry. Wasn't wasn't planned, nothing like that. Nothing. And then sometimes she getting on me about stuff, and I just say, she's like, no, brother, it ain't working this time. No. Peter is asleep. And then watch why he's asleep, y'all. Look at verse 5. But while Peter was in prison, the church did what? Prayed for him. And it doesn't just say they prayed. They prayed what? Earnestly. You know what earnestly means? Continuously, without ceasing. They prayed for him. They prayed. Now, this is going to mess some of you up, and some of you are going to question my civil rights when I say this, but it don't matter because I'm not preaching a living for you, but I'm going to say it anyway. Some of you are going to get upset. Some of you are going to be mad. Some of you are going to say, I was with it till he said that. Look what the text says. They're not marching. They're praying. They're not voting. They're praying. They're not boycotting. They're praying. Oh, Pastor, you just don't know where civil rights has brought us. Hear me. I don't have nothing against boycotting. I don't have nothing against marching. I don't have nothing against voting. I think you ought to do all of it. But when that stuff replaces your prayer life, when that replaces, the church ought to be known more for prayer than marching. The church ought to be known more for prayer than signing people up to vote. The church ought to be known more for prayer than boycotting stuff. Because if you really want to move the hand of God, you don't move it by voting and boycotting and marching. You do it by prayer. Now do all three, but don't let nothing replace prayer. All right, can I prove it to you? Because some of y'all mad as all get out. Let me prove it to you. If somebody came up to you and shared with you, they in a difficult situation, they in a bind, and you said to them, would you like me to march with you? Would you like me to boycott with you? Or would you like me to vote with you? Or would you like for me to pray? Would you tell them which one you want them to do? You want them to pray. Because when prayer happens, God moves. When prayer happens, God makes a way. When prayer happens, it touches all the way up to heaven. And I got some witnesses here that prayer not only changes things, but prayer can change people. Quit saying prayer just changes things. Sometimes God don't change the thing. He changed the people. And the people change the thing, but we gotta. Come on, look at verse 5. I'm wrapping it up. Look at verse 5. What is the church doing? What is the church doing? Well, I'm waiting on that side over there. I ain't got nowhere to be to 3 o'clock, so hey, take your time. I'm closer to Jonesboro over here than I am at DeKalb. What is the church doing in verse 5? What is the church doing? Praying. What is Peter doing in verse 6? Sleeping. And maybe you can't sleep because you ain't got enough folks praying for you. And maybe you need to get rid of the folks praying on you and get some folks praying for you. You do know you spell those pray differently. Don't you play with Dr. Lee today. Praying on you, P-R-E-Y, taking advantage of you. Praying for you, P-R-A-Y, going to God on your behalf. Hey, brother, sleep. Watch it, Kim. Watch it, watch it. Put up verse 6. Put up verse 6. Put up verse 6. Put up verse 6. I want them to see it. It says, but that night, before Peter was placed on trial, he was asleep, fastened between two chains, between two soldiers, which means he's chained up, one on one side, one on the others. And the other guards, flip it, the other guards, come on, the other guards stood outside the gate. 2 in the cell, 2 outside the cell. But the church is praying. And you can either focus on the problems or the proposals or the prayers. And look at verse 7. Let's wrap it up. Suddenly. 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 Come on now, suddenly means immediately. Suddenly means rapidly. Suddenly means swiftly. Suddenly means expeditiously. Suddenly means right nowly. Well, I went too far. I went too far. I'm sorry. I went too far. I'm sorry. You got some school teachers. Suddenly there was a bright light in the cell. And the angel of the Lord stood in front of Peter. Watch it, y'all. Watch it. Now there are 4 people in the cell. Y'all make this thing longer than what it should be. There are 4 in the cell. Peter, the 2 guards, and the angel. And the angel struck Peter on his side. Wait. The angel didn't tap him. The King James says he smote him. Streets say he slapped it. I mean, he. Well, y'all got to pray for me because that ghetto will come out of brother in a minute, boy. I'll slap that. Now, watch this. Answer this for me, somebody. Why does the angel not tap him? Why does the angel have to slap him? Boy, y'all got this thing now. Y'all got this thing because he's sleeping so hard. Miss Paula said that we're looking for people to join the drama ministry. Will you show somebody next to you how Peter is sleeping? Come on, some of y'all ain't got to move because you already. Some of y'all already slumped over in the seat. Wake me up when he finished. Watch this. Put it up. Come on, let me close it. The angel stood before him, struck him on the side, and said to him, get up. Watch this. And the chains. Don't y'all get me started on what prayer can do. And the chain, hey. Who put the key in and unlocked the chains? Nobody. Because there's some things that God can do for you that your credit card cannot do. There's some things that God can do for you that your grades cannot do. There's some things God can do for you that your 36, 24, 36 BBL cannot do. Don't get me started on you. You worry about your butt and your breast. You better get your prayer life together. Come on, let me finish this. Let me finish. I got to go. Let me finish. Put the verse up. Let me finish. Chains fell off his wrist. Come on, I'm ready. And the angel told him what? Get dressed. Put on your Nikes. I know it don't say Nikes, but you know, Nikes got sandals too. Now, I want to help you here. He doesn't say get dressed because Peter is naked. But what he's saying is take off your prison clothes and put on your free clothes. Because where I'm about to take you, prison attire is not allowed. And some of you need to take off sadness and depression and loneliness and a bad disposition and put on a smile and a happy face, because the door God is about to open for you, sadness is not allowed. Tell somebody, smile on this road. Come on, put the verse up. He says, get dressed, put your sandals on, and put your coat on and follow me. Can I say something I have not said yet? Who thank you, Sean. Who made the shackles fall? The Lord, the angel. Watch this. But who had to put on their clothes? Because God is saying, there's some stuff I'll do to get you started. But you got to show me you ready to go out. And sometimes God has released the shackles, but we wouldn't put on our clothes, and we stayed in that sad relationship because we wasn't ready to go. He said, put on your clothes, Peter. Come on. He said, and follow me. Watch this. The angel. I'm ready. The angel ordered. Next verse. So Peter did what? Left the cell. But all the time, he thought it was a vision. He didn't realize what was actually happening. Watch this. They passed the first and second guard. Now, you got to get this. Because the first guard is where? The first guards are where? They in the cell. Please pay attention. The first guard is in the cell. The second guards are where? They passed the first and second guard. And then they came to the iron gate that led to the city. And it opened by itself. Man, I got to preach 2 more times, else I would holler right here if this was my last time. It opened by itself. Do you know that there's some doors, when you walk into them, you ain't got to push them, you ain't got to pull them. They open by themselves. But they open by themselves because when you get close enough. And God is saying to somebody here, you too far from my will. You too far from the church. You too far. When you get close enough, some doors will open. All right, put it up, put it up, put it up, put it up, put it up. It opened all by itself. And then verse 11, and they passed through and they started walking down the street and the angel left him. Ah, shucks. I wish I had time to talk about it. The angel will get you far enough where you got to make some decisions for yourself. The angel came in, the angel got him out, but then the angel left him. Look what the text says. The angel left him. Put up the next verse. And Peter came to his senses and says, good googly woo. He says, it's really true. God has sent an angel and saved me from Herod. And guess what? I'll stop here, but guess where Peter went? To the prayer meeting. He went to the prayer meeting. Because when God brings you out, that ain't the time to go to the club. When God brings you out, that ain't the time to back it up and jump and move to the right and move. Okay, let me stop. Come on. Because some of y'all are like, ooh, I like this guy. I like this guy. They drop it like it's hot over there. He went to the prayer meeting. And when he got to the prayer meeting, guess what they were doing? Still praying. And Peter knocking on the door. And they still praying. Because you know what God is trying to tell you? There are going to be times in your life that while you praying for something, before you even get up off your knees, the answer is going to be knocking on your door. Come on, who am I preaching to in here? You praying for good grades, and the grades going to be knocking on your door. You praying for a scholarship, and the scholarship is going to be knocking on your door. So let me ask you this question. Because they got to cut the lights up when I come down there because I'm dark and they can't really vision. So see how the lights went up right like that. Here you go again. You know he ain't supposed to. We know he put the marks up there and he ain't supposed to go past that. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm back up here. I just want y'all to know why the lights came up. Now, their pastor go again thinking he light skinned. Come on, gang. See, when Pastor Berean preached, the lights are a certain way. When I preach, they got to get different bulbs and all. Y'all stop playing. Let's get out of here. Here's the last question I want to ask you, and then we go. Here's the question. It's two questions. You answer it after I get to the second question. I promise we'll stop. When the angel came in and when the angel left with Peter, question one. Did the guards see the angel, but they couldn't do nothing about it? That's question one. Option one. Option two. Did the guards not see the angel coming or leaving because God put them in a trance and they couldn't do nothing? Those are the two options. Would you share the option that you select with somebody before we go? Share the option, share the option, share the option. All right, share the option. All right. How many of y'all option one? Option one. That's what you thinking. They saw him, but they couldn't do nothing about it. How many that's you? How many of you option two? God put them in a trance and they couldn't even see what was going on. That's you. How many you just don't care? You just want me to finish. Because I don't care. Tell us. All right. I'm going to tell you because I don't want you losing sleep because you're trying to figure out what option it was. Option one was what? What's option one? What's option one? They saw him, but they couldn't do nothing. Thank you. Option two was what? They was in a trance. Here's the answer. It don't matter. It don't matter. Because God is saying whatever it takes to get you out, whatever it takes to solve your problem, whatever it takes to lighten your load, whatever it takes to get you to pay your bills. Sometimes he says your enemies will see it and they can't touch you. And sometimes they'll be in a trance and they won't be able to know what's going on. God says it don't matter, just know one way or another, I'm coming out. But in the meantime, I want you to sleep. In the meantime, I want you to sleep. And can I give you this last thing? You know why I think Peter was able to sleep? Not just because the people was praying for him. But in a bigger way, you know why I think Peter was able to sleep? This wasn't the first time he was in prison. When you read Acts chapter 4 and you read Acts chapter 5, he was thrown in prison 2 other times. And each time, God let him out. So when he's in prison this 3rd time, guess what his mentality is? If he did it before. Oh, y'all trying to help right now. And you need to know that whatever you're going through right now, it ain't the first time you've been in trouble. It may be a new situation. It may be a new circumstance. It may be a new dilemma. But this ain't the first time you needed God. And can I give you a quick lesson on trusting God? A quick lesson on trusting God? Number 1, you learn to trust God. You're not born trusting God. You learn to trust God. You ready for lesson 2? You only trust God when you have to. Many times when we don't have to trust God, we don't trust God. We trust ourselves or we trust other resources. Number 1, you learn to trust God. Number 2, you only trust God when you have to. Here's number 3. God will always see to it that something's going on in your life where you got to trust him. And how many people admit something's going on in your life right now? And if you don't trust God, that thing won't be settled. God is awake. And if God is awake, get you some sleep. And even though there are problems, get you some sleep. Even though there are proposals and plotting. When you get a chance, will you read what one president said that they will do if they are elected? 25 different things that they will do. And if that don't take us back to slavery, but you need to know, God is still King of Kings. And God is still Lord of Lords. And my hope is built on nothing less. Stand to your feet and tell 3 people, can't nothing out trump my God. Can't nothing. But you got to sleep. And what did that farmer tell that man? Stop trying to look through the wall. Will you do me a favor and get on your tippy toes and look over your situation right now? Come on, get on your tippy toes. Come on, some of you need to get out of them heels anyway. Get on come on. Them hurting your feet. Just go on and look over that situation. And tell everybody on your row, I'm praying for you. I'm praying for you. I'm praying for you. Tell people behind you, I'm praying for you. I'm praying for you. I'm praying for you. Tell somebody way on the other side, hey, I'm praying for you. Thank you. I receive it. I told God, every time before I preach, I pray this prayer, Lord, keep my mind clear. Don't let nothing interfere with my mind that I can't do what you told me to do when it comes to preach your word. And I want to say thank all of you for praying for me. How many of y'all pray for me every day, every day, every day? Come on. Thank you. Appreciate you. How many pray for me sometime? Come on, not every day, but sometime. I see that hand. I see that hand. I see that hand. I see that hand, deacon. I see that hand. Amen. Appreciate it. Because somebody finish this for me. The prayers of the righteous. And And I want you to know your July through December is going to be greater than your January through June. So get you some sleep. Anybody got young adult children and they can keep you up? They think differently, they act differently, but get you some sleep. My mother, when I was in college, used to disturb me when she said this: son, I'll be praying for you. I'll be praying for you. And that used to bother me because I knew I was into some things that I knew the prayers of the righteous availed much. And I didn't want mother interrupting nothing. Kerwin, I'll be praying for him. Like, oh, shucks. My friend said, we still going? No, Doc, I can't go tonight, Doc. Lightning may crash tonight. I just got prayer. And if you need a church that believes in prayer, if you need a Christ that can handle your situation, you know what's amazing about this text? James was killed, but Peter survived. And we don't know why that happened. And God is saying to somebody here today, you can't figure out why somebody else didn't make it, but what are you going to do that you've made it? Somebody needs Christ today. Somebody needs Berean as a church today. And if you feel like God is calling you to accept Christ, you feel like God is calling you to be a part of this church, we welcome you today. Repeat after me. Lord, I pray for everybody around me. Whoever needs Christ in their life, a church home like Berean, when this prayer is over, give them strength and courage to walk down front and make a commitment to live for you. This is my prayer in Jesus' name. Even if I have to walk with them. Amen. Amen. Well, will you turn and ask somebody as we sing, can I walk down there with you? Can I walk down there with you?